"What are you doing? We just let you go," like stupid Canadian. It was the scariest moment in my life. I thought for sure that I would die. We made a personal commitment to stay in Ukraine until this war is over. Hello, my name is Paul Hughes. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I work with an organization called Hugs, which is helping Ukraine grassroots support. And we are working in Charkově and Chersonu now. We've been here for about 2 years, over 2 years now, helping Ukraine with the war effort and with humanitarian initiatives. Some of the most important volunteers are Chara, little Chara. She's a blind dog, and then our cat, shop cat. And when we first came here, this was just a big mess. It was garbage everywhere. The garage had no tools. We installed the door. We cleaned everything up. We put in the lighting system, and we started to acquire tools, tires, a number of different items so that we were able to be functional here. Did you get that? That's funny. That doesn't happen that often. Well, in Charkově, we have two primary focuses, and that is the SMART program, which is working with IDP, internally displaced people, with working with IDP children. And so these are children who have come from near the front line, the Kupiansk, the Kramatorsk, Konstantinivka, Bakhmut, these types of places, Chasiv Yar. And the other focus we have is the garage, which has a warehouse and has for humanitarian aid, and we also repair vehicles here as well. We're over 300 vehicles now have been repaired out of our garage over the last year, roughly a year. So the majority of them are military vehicles. Here we've documented a number of different situations where we've gotten together. And, you know, like say for here, this one's kind of interesting because that's the mayor of Charkově. Here's some people that were given laptops. Here's the team assembling for before a mission. Some more laptops. A group shot that we did after a team building exercise, coming back from missions, repair, helping some people here, working with kids and things like that. Some artwork as well. And then we have numbers here. And these are numbers from different missions that we've done. Hugs has been completed over 300 missions in Ukraine in 2 years. We have now personal experience, and we see firsthand what is happening here. And these things are real. This is truth, that there is an invasion and an attack and an offensive push into Ukraine by another country, even with insurmountable volumes of information that show that this attack is unjustified and is a murderous act and involves war crimes. People have a gray area. They have blinders on. They have a blind spot, and they don't want to accept what is truth and what is fact. And it distorts their thinking. And the thinking of many, many people around the world now has become very black and white. We're very sort of left and right. It's very divisive and it's very polarized, as we say. So Orwell talks about 1984 and Animal Farm and the distortion of propaganda and the propaganda machine, and I use the word Orwellian. We're in this very Orwellian time where, you know, Russians they lie. I mean, that's all they do is lie. And we know this now. We know this for 40, 50, 60 years, that Russia just lies. I was leaving Charkově in July, late July 2022, and I had just dropped off aid here, and I was returning to Borodianka area. And I received a phone call from a lady from the Netherlands. Her name was Debbie. And her and another lady named Linda had been looking to help a young girl, 6 years old, Ukrainian girl, who was in the occupied territory down in Zaporizhia area. So I went through the process of trying to get to the location, and by doing so, I came to a Russian block post. As soon as they saw my vehicle, they slammed on the brakes, and they came back, and they were very animated and very insistent that I was going to be taken away, and they were going to take my vehicle, and they asked for somebody to interpret. And I said to the man, I said, "Where are they going to take me?" And the guy didn't say anything. He just looked at me and he just made a face like, and I'm like, uh-oh, this is a problem. I never think of anything as a game, but that game was over. This whole process of me thinking I could go into occupied territory and get this girl. So they took me to about 30 kilometers past that block point into a town called Vasilivka. They took me into a building. My head was down, my hands were in front of my face all the time. They thought I was a spy, and I tried to convince them that I was a humanitarian and I was coming to evacuate the people. The captain finally came in, and who was a very big man. I thought that this is the guy that would probably be my executioner or probably kill me. Some very, very scary moments. And he came in and started to talk to me. He grabbed a chair, turned the chair around, leaned forward, and started by saying, "So, you are from Canada?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he asked me a number of questions. He spoke English. It was very surprising. He asked me what I did in Canada. I told him I'm a farmer. And he said, "Oh, you are a farmer. I am also a farmer. What do you grow? What do you raise?" So we talk about farming. And he talked about his farm. And he was very proud of his farm. And so we talked some more. And he goes, "Oh, Canada, do you like hockey?" And I'm like, "Yes, of course I like hockey. Yes, Canadian, I love hockey." And "Who is your favorite player?" And I'm like, I was thinking Russian, Ovechkin, who's a famous player, a very good hockey player. Even though he's Russian, he's a very good hockey player. I said, "Ovechkin." And right away his response was, "Ovechkin? Ovechkin is shit, Ovechkin, shit." And I'm like, "Well, Trechak?" And he's like, "Oh, Trechak, good. Trechak, good. Very good. Trechak, good." And so he was friendly again, and so he asked me if I wanted to go for a cigarette, and I'm like, "Yes, I will go for a cigarette. Yes, definitely." Been there, interrogated for about 7 hours. Very stressful. They would walk around with a knife. They would have a gun and cock the gun. There's one guy in particular, every time I looked over towards him, he was always like, his gun. And they tried to intimidate me. They were successful. It was the scariest moment of my life. I thought for sure that I would die. So we went out for a cigarette. We talked some more. And the way he and I were talking and looking at each other, there was some respect between the two of us. I felt that somewhere behind his uniform and his body armor and everything, that there might have been a good man in there, or somebody who had a bit of compassion, and he had shown me some compassion. And we're outside, and I said, "What's going to happen to me?" And he said that they will let me go. And they shut the door, and I was in the yard in my vehicle. And then I realized that, I don't have any document or anything from them, that they had just interrogated me and arrested me, and that maybe now they will, somebody else may pull me over and want to interrogate me. So I got out of my vehicle and I knocked on the door, and the guy came to the door and he looked at me like, "What are you doing? We just let you go," like stupid Canadian. And I'm like, I need a document, card, check, something, you know. And he understood what I was saying. Oh, yeah. So he gave me a little stamped, very small stamp thing that obviously said that I had some kind of pass or something, I don't know. And so I left, I drove around the corner, and then I just kind of had a moment like where I just froze. I just like had to stop, and I had to collect my thoughts. Well, a guy realized that I needed some help, and he said, I will take you to Wi-Fi. I immediately looked at my messages, and there was a message from the girl and her family where they were, and I put the coordinates in, and they were only 1.5 kilometers away. They were very close. So I raced to this position, and sure enough, go there. It was an abandoned garage, gas station. All of a sudden somebody came out and looked out, and it was a girl, and I'm like, she saw the vehicle, my vehicle with a Canadian flag, and she ran out to me and just jumped on me, and she was just shaking, and they all started to come out, and there was 4 people, and one of them was a little girl. I saw the little girl, I grabbed her, and I put her in the car right away, and the other people, I said, okay, let's get it, bring your things. I helped them carry the things, and as we were doing that, mortar started to come in. They started to try to bomb our position. And so we go right away, and I just drove very, very fast, very difficult, very bumpy area, and they were still sending mortars at us. And that's her there as well. And then this is us as we're driving. And she was just the bravest little girl. She was just like having a good time. It was almost like she was enjoying herself watching me drive very fast and looking at me and who is this strange man, and I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, okay. Oh, you know, like very brave little girl. She's only 6 years old, and it was amazing. Okay? Okay. Mission accomplished, and got her back to the Polish-Ukrainian border where her mom came from the Netherlands, and we handed her over to her mother. And it was a very emotional time. I made a personal commitment, my son and her son, we made a personal commitment to stay in Ukraine until this war is over. So we came to help Ukraine, we signed up for it, we knew what we were getting ourselves into for the most part. And after building a network and creating hugs, and now establishing all of the contacts we have, this is not the time to leave. We're just getting good at what we're doing. We're effective, we can help people, and the job is not done. But I do say to people, it's sort of like talking to a fireman who's fighting a fire. You know, and you say, hey, fireman, when are you going to go home? And the fireman's like, well, when the fire is out. I will go home when the fire is out. So the same thing for us. Ukrainian people have demonstrated to the world how brave they are, and how resilient they are, and they have shown us how to lead. Ukrainians are the ones doing the talking through their actions and to try to defend their country. Even though we come to help Ukrainian people have helped us so many times in so many different situations. I didn't know that much about Ukraine before I came here, but it's a very beautiful country with very beautiful and brave people. And Slava Ukraini. Slava.